The most accurate measurement of the honesty of an economic system, as well as the stability of a country, is a proportional distribution of wealth and income. Otherwise, you would become like one of the so-called banana republics and become plagued with a revolution every so many months. During the robber baron age of the late 19th century and early part of the 20th century, Americans become alarmed due to the disproportional wealth of names like the Rockefellers and the Carnegies, Morgans, and others. Americans thought that the concentration of wealth was a threat to their liberties. At that time, the richest 1% of the population owned a whopping 18% of all income. As a comparison to the robber baron era, in 1976, the top 1% earned 9% of income. But today, the wealthiest 1% receive 24% of all income. And that is hard to match in third world dictatorships. The growth in the wealthiest 1/10 of this 1% is increasing at an even faster rate. There has been a collection of reasons for this disparity. One, the marginal tax rates and other adjustments we have made to the tax code starting in the 1980s have favored the wealthiest 1%. The thinking from the 1980s on has revolved around supply-side economics, or trickle-down. But we did not cut spending during this era, yet started a massive borrowing plan that made us the largest debtor nation in the world in nominal terms. Two, non-tax political policies, such as the silence on antitrust enforcement. This favored the largest corporations. Globalization, or a world market, touted by Wall Street, who are big beneficiaries. This polarized wealth. The American consumer and his indulgence have made globalization possible. But now the American consumer is moving toward empty, both in money and means. Number four, profits from the technological advances that have not been equally distributed throughout the population. There are other contributing factors, but three of the four I have mentioned are political in nature and can be changed or reversed. From time to time, you hear someone accuse another of wanting to redistribute the wealth, or leveling. Sometimes it will be phrased class warfare. The more accurate answer is the wealth has already been redistributed from the 1980s on. And now is the time to adopt policies that would inject fairness and honesty into our economy and correct some of these abuses. So what lessons have we learned from the 80s on forward? Setting national policies by way of the tax code is dangerous business and should be avoided. The tax code should be simple as possible, but mainly it should have purity. One of the most persuasive philosophies of our time has been libertarianism. Libertarians have ended up in key positions in the government. Libertarians have contributed greatly to the distortion of economic results, mainly by pushing hands-off policies. The oligopolies were not disciplined by either the market or the regulators. We need to return to a more pragmatic economic doctrine. Statism must be checked. We are in a long drift toward a European-style welfare state. And we should know that the Europeans are not a good example. If we had to pay up front for all of our entitlements by increased taxes, our drift would have already been checked. But we are borrowing the money, which introduces a stealth feature with all of its deception, and thus we now have our debt crisis. This is our liberal problem, which is also a form of political bribery. Voters are bribed with the promise of government benefits and care. Ostensibly, liberals do this to help the disadvantaged. But when you look at the facts, you discover that the benefits also go to those who need no help. We have just now begun to pay for yesterday's mistakes, both at the ballot box and faulty policies. I am afraid there are many more payments yet to go.